Welcome, everyone, and Happy New Year. My name is Nicole Christensen, and I'm so glad that you're here. I am the president and CEO and founder of Care Answered. We're celebrating our 10th year, so that's very exciting, and I'm so happy to share it with all of you. Um, we provide patient advocacy and care coordination. We navigate people through the healthcare system to access their best care while giving loved ones peace of mind. And another huge part of our mission is empowering all patients, which means all people. And this webinar specifically really touches on that. We want to start the new year off well. I am also the author of From Crisis to Calm. So when we talk about communication, right, we have all have known, well, I won't say we have done it ourselves, of course, but we know when communication goes wrong, right? Whether it's in our professional lives, our personal lives, or even as a patient in any area. And so we're going to get some great tips from Tildet on starting 2024 off right, life and love saving communication tips with Tildet. So as always, with our webinars there, we have people on that are experts in their field, as well as a part of the Care Answered family. So just to give you a little bit of an intro, which she probably doesn't need one. She's so fabulous, as all of our guests are. Until that, are you tired of feeling stressed and overwhelmed? Me. Meet Tildet Varon, an expert in inner mastery and stress mastery. And with over 20 years of experience, Tildet has established herself as a leader in the field and has helped countless individuals and organizations reduce stress. And I know this firsthand. So you are in for a treat. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce Tildet.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here and welcome everyone. Happy New Year. I think we're still supposed to say it if we didn't see each other, right? So healthy and happy New Year. And if you can turn on your cameras, I love connecting, but if you don't, I understand as well. So I think Nicole started saying, like, sometimes we know how communications work or don't work. So either put in the chat box or raise your hand if you have ever felt unheard or misunderstood in a conversation. And if you are not on the camera, put a Y or an N on the chat box. Let's connect and start the conversation, the communication. Have you ever felt unheard or misunderstood? Yes, I'm seeing hands. Yes, yes. And how did it feel? Can you put that in the chat box? How did that feel? How did it feel to be misunderstood or unheard? Frustrating. Yes, Gail, it can be frustrating. Frustrating, bad and frustrated, ignored, unimportant. Yes. Yes, sometimes disappointed, right? Sometimes sad. A whole mixture of emotions. And if you're anything like me, in your conversations, I'm sure you want to nurture relationships. You want to build understanding and create positive impact in both your personal and professional life. And you want to find a common ground with people, personally and professionally, so that there's a genuine connection, right? I love it when conversations become like a connection of hearts. It's an exchange of heart. And you also know the power of communication and effective communication. Probably that's why you're here. Yet you probably face situations where conveying your thoughts, feelings, and needs became challenging. Conversations with good intentions took unexpected turns. And maybe sometimes you gave constructive feedback, or you thought you were giving constructive feedback, and it was met with defensiveness. Anyone experience that? Yes, yes, right. You can put a Y in the chat if you're not on the camera. I'm seeing hands up. And also, how often have you hesitated to express your needs due to fear or uncertainty? Yes, right? How do I know? Well, I've been there. And I've turned it around, and I want to remind you that there is nothing wrong with you. You did the best that you could with what you had. And today, my intention is to give you some tools so that you can improve it. And maybe we can also help each other, because life and love giving conversations are so important, and it is so needed at this time. So by the end of this webinar, my intention is that you each will go with a practical tool or tools so that you can bridge the gap between communication aspirations and everyday challenges. I will use a PowerPoint. I don't like using PowerPoints that much because I love connecting. Yet I want you to see some of the things in the PowerPoint. And if I turn my head to the right, that's where the PowerPoint is. I kept you in the front because I wanted to see you. So let's start with the PowerPoint. And after the PowerPoint, there will be time for us to answer questions, go over examples, or use extra examples. So, but what I want you to do is really be focused here and concentrate and participate. And let's see what we can accomplish today. So I'm going to go share my screen now. Can you see my screen? Good, because, okay, here we go. Love and life-saving communications. So by the end of this webinar, you will gain the tools and develop strategies, hopefully, and feel empowered to assert yourself, to speak better, and create those nice connections. So one of the best tools, I came across this, I think about in 2004, so about 20 years ago. And you probably have heard of it, or some of you might have heard about it. It's nonviolent communication. Anybody familiar with nonviolent communication? Great, yes. And the life giving comes from there, right? Marshall Rosenberg. And if you don't have the book, it's fabulous. Get it? It really brings life. His intention was to bring life to communications. And it's 20 years, I'm still using it, I'm still learning it. At the beginning, it was like a foreign language. And I was like, oh my, how am I gonna do this? But the more you practice, the better you get with it, like everything else. So in the nonviolent communication, what we want to accomplish is we want to have honest, clear communications so that we can talk about everything authentically and create empathy, and be able to communicate, express our feelings, our needs, and our requests, and at the same time hear others the same way. So we are going to do both. As you all know, communication is not only about talking and expressing, it's also deeply listening, right? And I think that's what we are also missing a lot, the listening part. And nobody teaches at schools how to do that. And we are getting better and better as we put our awareness there. So the first principle in nonviolent communication is making observations without judgment. So Marshall Rosenberg talks about the difference between interpretation, evaluation, and observation. So for you to understand this better, we will do some exercises. So the first exercise, I have 3 sentences here. The first one is, John was angry with me yesterday for no reason. Yesterday evening, Nancy bit her fingernails while watching television. My father is a good man. Now, in the chat box, if you can, please put the number or the numbers of the exercise that you think is an observation. Not the evaluations, but the observations. Number two, number two, number two. Ooh, number two. I have a good audience. You know your communication. I'm challenged here. Yes, number two. Exactly. And number two, yes, yes. So when we are communicating, the more we state our observations, and we're going to get deeper into this, the better it will be, because we will cut off the defensiveness or people interpreting it in different ways. Now, the second principle is identifying your feelings. This also at times can be challenging, because how many times do we get in touch with our feelings, right? Sometimes we know what we feel. Sometimes we're told not to feel, so we're not in touch. So it pushes us to really reflect. And in everyday life, even when you're not communicating, stop throughout the day and ask yourself, how do I feel? How do I feel? Because a lot of the times we are in such busy world, there's no time to feel. You just do it, right? So the feelings are important, and there are feelings that are feelings for when our needs are met. Those are more the positive feelings. And then there are those feelings where our needs are not met, like when we are misunderstood or unheard, we feel frustrated. And then there are some words that are non-feeling words, and we think they are feeling, like I feel betrayed, I feel abandoned, I feel pressured. Are these feelings? Put yes or no, please. Unheard, unseen. Do you think these are feelings, or are they non-feelings? Yes, and a lot of the times I'm seeing no from Holland, Nicole, no, Johnny, Vicky, no, exactly. And a lot of the times we just say, and you say, oh, I feel criticized right now. And that is whenever the words are blaming someone else, that means we haven't taken responsibility and haven't conveyed the message as clearly as we could. Does that make sense to everyone? Is this helpful to go over these reminders? So,
Yes.
great. So let's do an exercise again. I feel you don't love me. I'm sad that you're leaving. You are disgusting. Ooh. So which ones are feeling? Which one or which ones? Can you please put that in the chat? Yes, two, two. Ooh, what a great group. Yes, yes, two. Beautiful. So the third principle is expressing your needs. And we're going to put all this together, and then we'll have some discussions as to, in our conversations, what we need to do. And so you express your needs, and needs are also things that we need to work on to really articulate in the best way possible. Because sometimes, again, we don't know what we need. Do we need safety? Do we need order? Do we need affection? Do we need connection? Do we need support? And getting in touch, and in the conversation, when you're having that conversation, get in touch with you and say, what do I need right now? and also have empathy and see what the person you're talking to needs. And we'll get more into that as well. Sometimes it can get confusing, and if we can practice this throughout the day, our communications will be much better, because the better we connect to ourselves, the more clarity we have about our feelings, our needs, the better we can understand others. And the fourth principle is making requests. Oh, you're in your office, so I'm sorry to hear that, Walsh. Okay, I hope that we'll see you. I think he's gone. Okay, and making requests are very important, because when we make a demand, a lot of the times we build walls and people don't want to hear it. But requests are gentler, but we also have to understand that not every request will be met with compliance, right? So that doesn't mean our conversation was not successful. It just means that another conversation is needed. So the success is not measured if the request is met with a compliance or not. It's more measured with the connection we started and the empathy that we have shown. So let's do an example. A mother finds her teenager sons. We'll do both personal and professional examples. A mother finds her teenage son's soiled socks under the coffee table next to the TV. What would she say? Anyone? What would you say?
Maybe I see your dirty socks are under the coffee table. Why is that?
Yes, the first one, the observation is good. How do you feel about it?
Um, is disappointed a feeling?
Yes, disappointed is a feeling.
Uh, I'm gonna pretend I'm disappointed
Mm,
because we've talked about this before, and I thought we were had an understanding that your socks, your dirty socks don't go here. Um, and what I would really like you to do is pick them up, and in the future, don't put them there. Is there a way that we can do something so that you will remember?
Great. Okay, almost there. Thank you, Nicole. Almost there. So I put two things there, and we will work with this. I put one non-NBC way. What is wrong with you? Why are you so lazy? Pick up your socks. Dirty socks go in your hamper. Don't you know that? Have we done that at times in different ways, right? So now, what's wrong with you? Oh my God, this person is attacking me. I am lazy. I'm already labeled. So, am I going to do what they're asking me? What will I do? Build a wall, right? So, how do we open the door or build a window instead, at least? So that will be, I named him Andy. Andy, when I see soiled socks under the coffee table and next to the TV, yes, Nicole, very nicely said, I feel irritated or I feel disappointed because I need more order or I need more support. And would you be willing, instead of go put it there now, that's a demand, would you be willing? Would you be willing to put your socks in the hamper or in the washing machine? Again, it may not be met with compliance, but trust me that they will hear you better. Do you agree with that? Anybody agreeing with that? So the requests are really important. And another example, Amy shares her confidential information with her sister. And the sister goes and she tells all about it to the husband. We've had those moments too, right? So Again, I'll show you the nonviolent way. What is wrong with you? How could you be so stupid? I should have known better not to tell you anything. So did this create a connection? Did it get what you want? No, right? And it may even make the relationship with your sister or whoever you're speaking to a little more disconnected. And you want to connect to that. That's your sister. You want to connect. That's your coworker. That is your child. That's your parent. That's your friend. That is your colleague. We want to connect to them. And in our good intention, we don't know what to do. So instead, this is the third time you shared what I told you with your husband. I'm so disappointed because I need to talk to someone and I want to be able to trust that my confidences remain private. In the future, could you please not share my private information with your husband? How does that sound? Better? Are these examples helping you? So now we all think that in communication, it's all words. Oh, I said the right thing. I was very gentle. I said I used all the right words, but the words are only 7% of a communication. Now, the next 38% is our voice, how we sound, the tone. I can say, hey, Holland, I really like that necklace on you. It looks great. I can also say, Holland, that necklace looks great. Holland, that necklace looks good. I'm using the same word, right? And, oh, thank you, Teresa. So nice having you. So how we say it, it's not only the words we use, how we saying, Holland, I hope you don't mind. I do like your necklace.
And it's okay if you don't.
Thank you. I like that too. So it is, and the most that is the subliminal is our body language and our facial expressions. So if we're talking to someone and I'm talking to you and I'm looking all over the place, do you feel important? Right? So when I'm talking to you, if I am opening my heart, opening myself, and I lean into you, right? I want to know what you're doing. That feels better than me saying, okay, today I'm going to talk to you about this communication thing. Versus, I really want you to have great relationships. And the facial expression, the arms being closed or open, leaning in, these are all the subliminal body and facial things that make the communication more meaningful. And of course, communication is not only about using words, right? It's also how we listen to others and what we do in that listening. So for the listening part, again, we want to listen with empathy, and I use the acronym CARE. So in CARE is the first C is concentrate, what we just talked about. Concentrate meaning focus with the person, pay attention, make them the most important thing, whoever you're talking to, so they feel seen and heard in just your presence. And the A is about acknowledge, acknowledging the person, saying, yes. You can move your head, you can say, you can, just make sounds and acknowledge what they're saying. Then respond. Respond could be, maybe you need clarification. Maybe you didn't totally understand what they were trying to communicate to you. Or you can paraphrase what you heard to make sure that it was the right thing. If I'm hearing you correctly, do you mean that? And blah, 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 paraphrasing it. And the E is empathizing. And empathizing is not taking on someone else's pain. Empathy is all about acknowledging their experience, holding space for them, and touching them gently to say, I hear you, I see you, you're important, you matter. So it's not sympathy. Oh, that's so painful. Oh, that's so funny. Instead of creating that empathy, that space that they can share whatever they're feeling. And also, we have to consider in communication, it's not only what we're saying, right? At times, it's also how the other person is hearing it. And that may need clarification. So there's 4 sides to every communication. So let's say you are a front seat passenger and you are telling the driver, hey, driver, the traffic is green. And how would the driver hear that? The driver may hear it as, oh, she's just telling me the traffic light is green. It's a fact. Or they may say, oh, they're in a hurry. She's telling me I'm in a hurry. The traffic light is green. Or they're maybe trying to help me because there's so much going on here that they're saying to me, oh, the traffic light is green. I'll help you with it. Or it could be, come on, drive now. The traffic light is green. Have you ever been in that? Me, myself too. I pay attention and I still do it at times. And now, sometimes I do it just as a fact and it can be misheard. And the person gets upset and says, I see it. Why are you so impatient? Can't you just wait? And that is, again, instead of a wall, we can say, oh, so how did you hear me say it? I want to do better. Did you hear it as a criticism? I wanted to help you. I thought that you were distracted and the light is on, and I thought it will be helpful if I tell you that the light is on, because I do want to get where we need to go on time. What would you like me to do in the future? Not say anything? Wait for a minute? And instead of saying, then, we just get upset and don't talk about it. Now, I want to also use this empathy receiving. Now, is this helpful up to this point? Is this helping? I know that a lot of you here know nonviolent communication, but it's a good reminder for all of us. I thought to go through that. And what I wanted to do now is do that empathic connection, because you may be aware of nonviolent communication and communicating in that way, but the person that's communicating to you may not be aware. They don't know nonviolent communication exists, right? Not everyone knows about it. Now, how do we help them? How do we hear empathically and respond to them? So I wrote, in this case, it's a client and a patient advocate, and they're having a conversation. And in the non-NVC way, the client will say, I've been waiting for a response to my request, and correct me, Nicole, if I'm doing this correctly or not. So this is the non-NVC way. I've been waiting for a response to my request for assistance with medical bills. It's been weeks and I'm feeling frustrated. Well, we're dealing with a lot of requests and it takes time. Your case is not the only one. And the client says, I understand that, but it's been weeks. I need to know what's going on. This is causing me lots of stress. look, we have a process. We'll get back to you when we can. Everyone is stressed about bills. You're not the only one. And so that's not the best way, right, Nicole? Because we're not acknowledging,
Absolutely not.
right? And have you had cases where that was valid, though, right?
One might think that, but I would never say
But not with Nicole.
not with me.
I know that. So this makes the patient escalate the tension and not feel that they matter, and they stay in that tense place, which doesn't help them at all. So how can we do empathic hearing? So again, the client would say, I've been waiting for a response to my request for assistance with medical bills. It's been weeks. I'm feeling really frustrated. And I hear you've been waiting for a response about your medical bills, and it's been causing frustration. Is that right? So I'm acknowledging now. I'm hearing, I'm acknowledging them. Yes, exactly. I'm not sure why it's taking so long, and I really need some help. I understand that this is important to you. Let me make sure I have all the information. Are you feeling overwhelmed by the uncertainty of the situation? So you're getting them in touch with their feelings. And yes, that's it. I feel overwhelmed and stressed about the bills piling up. So you're holding space for them to really process their feelings. What are they feeling at that moment? Maybe they are not even in touch. They just think it's this bills, but there's so much other things as well, right? And the patient advocate says, I can imagine that dealing with this uncertainty is tough. I want to help. Can you share more about the specific challenges you're facing so I can better understand how to support you? It's just hard knowing when I'll get a response. I'm worried about the impact on my finances. I need some clarity on the next steps. I hear you need clarity on the next steps, and that's the uncertainty is impacting your finances. I want to work together to find a solution. Let's explore the options available and discuss a plan that works for you. How does that sound? Is this better, Nicole?
Absolutely. And I just want to add to that what I say in presentations and to all clients or potential clients. It's so important, right, to reiterate what you think you heard. It makes you feel heard and seen. And also in the case of a patient with a clinician or a patient advocate or whomever is on their care team, you don't assume you know what they said, because everybody makes mistakes in the way that they communicate, and you want to make sure, because it's your life, or your emotional health in this case, and physical health. You want to make sure that you're understanding. So reiterate it. It helps for everyone in communication,
Thank
especially
you.
patients.
That's very important. Yes, thank you for that. So this is how we would create that empathic hearing and guide them in our knowledge of nonviolent communication so that they can also connect to their feelings and feel safe to communicate their feelings and their needs. And this way, the connection will happen, the trust will happen, and the communication will be there, or we'll better understand why they're frustrated and where we need to go and what we need to solve. Does that make sense? Because we are limited in time, I do have a gift for those that want it.
Free gift, free gift.
Yes, you can either go to the QR code or go to that link. I can put that link in the chat
Chat.
box if that's easier for you to do. Let me get that here. And this is the 10 keys. And when you see them, you will know why I gave them to you. I think they're important, but there is no time to talk about them.
Mhm.
So here it is. And This way you'll know the 10 keys, what to do and how to go about it. Now, I want to leave some time, and what I did today, I'm having a lot of time with a lot of fun with AI. So I wanted to create a poem for this webinar. So I went to AI and I said, let's create a webinar. And I kept giving the different prompts, and I created a poem for you with the help of AI. It took like 6-7 poems to get it together, but we did. This is not the poem yet, but we'll get there. So what I want to tell you, remind you, is words have power. Use them wisely. And use it with love and compassion. Listening is a gift. Give it generously without expectations. Empathy is a bridge. Build it with patience and understanding. Communication is a journey. Take each step with awareness and grace. The more compassion we have for ourselves, the more compassion we have for others, right? The clearer we are within ourselves, in our feelings, in our needs, the clearer we can hear others. And when we can do that, we find that common ground to connect. Even if we don't agree on things, we are willing to have some conversation to build a bridge. And I think that is so needed right now for all of us, because there is a lot of suffering in the world, and life and love saving conversations, we can bring more harmony, more peace, more life to life, and make connections so that people don't feel isolated. And labeling is so easy, blaming is so easy. But when we take responsibility to make every conversation an opportunity to bring life and love to someone, that is really important to me. So are you ready to hear my poem? And if we have time, then we can do a little bit more examples. I don't know how we're doing with time, Nicole. Are we good? We're good? Okay. So the poem is Whispers of Connection. Words are windows, let kindness be the view. Open the shutters, let empathy flow through. In every sentence, a bridge to extend, a connection formed, a message to send. They can build walls or create open doors. Choose words that unite, not settle scores. With every phrase, let understanding grow. In the garden are words, let compassion sow. When differences arise, let patience guide, for words are windows where hearts confide. In the tapestry of language, weave a thread of love and warmth where souls are fed. For words are windows, or walls they may seem. Choose wisely, let them be a gentle stream. Communication, a journey, steps in grace. Weave a tale of love in this shared space. Yes.
Very, very nice.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Holland. Yes. And yes, in this shared space. Yes, Holland.
No, I was going to say, now I know why the writers had to go on strike. If I wasn't clear before.
Well, it took a lot of prompts and it was a little Shakespearean. And I was like, can we make this simpler? Can we put these words? Can you take this out?
It's great.
So I couldn't take full credit, but I did do a lot of prompting. What I love is really the shared space and sharing, sowing that compassion in this shared space. And if we have the power to change the world, communication is the easiest way, because we're meeting so many different people everywhere. And the way we present the way we hear them, the way we talk to them, the way we make connections may break it or make it, and that's really important. So I want to give some time to also answer any questions or hear any comments. I also want, before we do that, in the chat box, can you write one takeaway that you are going to implement, or what is one thing that stood out for you? What is one thing that you want to do more of?
Tildet, I think the last bullet we see is empathy, but I think there was one more bullet. There we
yes.
go.
Thank you. Good attention, Nicole. I appreciate your detail, your focus to detail. And of course, there's a thank you slide too. Yes, if you can share it in the chat, I would appreciate it. What is one thing that stood out for you? Continue to make my requests known. Beautiful. Amazed that 55 of communication is body language. I will be more conscious of that. Yes, Gail. Yes, Nicole. Yes. Yes. Those are all. And requests are do take experience, a lot of practice. Sometimes we think it's a request, but it's really a demand, and the nuances, of course, we need to go deeper or have more time to discuss. I will try to be more kind in my communication and not sarcastic and judgmental. Beautiful, Joni. That's really important. Yes. Anyone else? I like, would you be willing as request? Yes, would you be willing? It's an invitation, right? It's an invitation. It's not on asking you to do that. Could you? Are you willing to? Yes, I like that too. Thank you, Olga. I will follow the rule. It's not sometimes what I say if I don't like something, but how I say it. Beautiful. Yes, it's all how we say it. I can, I am so surprised. 10 years ago, the conversation I wouldn't be able to have. Now, even if they are the most difficult conversations, I can have them, and people are willing to listen because of the way I'm communicating with them. And I can give constructive feedback most of the time and don't get defensiveness. There might be times, well, with children, it's a whole different story at times, but Duffy says, know it and feel so inspired by your warm, enthusiastic presentation. Oh, thank you, Duffy. I'm so honored you're here. And it's easy when there are warm, heart-centered people in our environment, like all of you here, to have these conversations. And I hope that our numbers will exponentially grow so that we can create the tipping point. Thank you, Holland. Thank you. Yes, Nicole too. Yes, yes. Thank you, Olga. Yes, any questions? Do we have time for questions, Nicole?
We do. We do.
Okay.
We have a question or two. We have a few more minutes. In the time, I'm going to be looking at the chat, and you can take yourself off mute if you want as well.
Yes.
I just want to thank you so much, Tildet. I always get something from what you say, even when we're just having a conversation. But these are things, even if they were known, just such a wonderful and important reminder, and how you express it is so important as well. So that we can communicate, because you're right? We're all trying to bridge connections, but sometimes we don't have the tools in our arsenal to do so.
Yes, thank you. And thank you, everyone, for being there and being part of this communication and conversation. And also, Nicole, can I tell them about my
Yes,
upcoming event?
please do, please do.
Thank you. I have a live event coming up on February 13th, and it is Achieve More While Doing Less. And I cannot wait to share all my insights, because I have been on a healing journey in the past 2.5-3 years. Some of you may know it, some of you don't know it. And I've learned so much in achieving more while doing less. So I will be sharing that. And maybe I can put the link if you want to see it. Can I do that
Yes, please.
on the chat box?
Yes,
Let me
please.
see if I
Yes, I
have
will
it.
be there. It's going to be great. I encourage everybody to attend and tell your friends and colleagues and neighbors, because I just think it's going to be wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you, Nicole. I am going to provoke you. I'm going to stimulate you. I am going to do it lovingly, but there will be some shaking that's going to happen, and a lot of great connections. The community is so beautiful. I feel so blessed to have the community that we have. So I can't wait to hug you. I can't wait to talk to you, and it will be really wonderful. I don't see any questions in the chat.
Olga, yes, this program is going to be recorded and sent out. But I don't believe, but Tildet, you speak about the February event.
The February, will the upcoming program, the February one, is not going to be recorded. This will be recorded.
Right.
But the February one will not be recorded.
So try to get there if you can. I know sometimes it's hard.
Yes, yes. And
but
Olga,
it'll
I'm
also
so
be nice.
happy that you're here. I miss you.
Me too. Me too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I don't see any other questions.
Mm-hmm.
But you know where to find Tildet. That's her phone number and website, so you can gain more information. And we look forward to Care Answered's next month's webinar as well, which will be on Valentine's Day. And it's going to be a lot about caregiving when your loved one has dementia, and tips and tools of how to deal with that, and how to have everybody have better quality of life. And we'll be talking about communication in that way too. So I'm very excited about that. And again, thank you so much, Tildet, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here, Nicole. I
Always.
appreciate you. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.